Good evening. My name's Edward King Thompson, and welcome to another video. It's been a very long time since I've made one of these compilations. The main reason for this is that quality paranormal footage, which is actually worth discussing, is rather thin on the ground. The rapid development of photorealistic AI video has now reached the point where it is practically indistinguishable from reality. In a strange and ironic paradox, the gathering of paranormal evidence has now reverted to a time before recording technology even existed. The camera does lie, and the only way to gauge the authenticity of a capture is by the integrity of the individual sharing it. The implications of AI art in all its forms and its impact on the careers of creatives, myself included, is something that weighs heavily on my mind, but that is a discussion for another time. Regardless, here are 3 of the most compelling paranormal captures that I have come across in recent times. Dan Bell is a filmmaker from Baltimore, Maryland, who is most known for his documentary series Dead Malls, Dead Motels, and Another Dirty Room. Suffice to say, much of his content involves him investigating long-abandoned locations, which, perhaps unsurprisingly, has led to some inexplicable moments over the years. In 2016, he was exploring an abandoned factory in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Some comments mentioned that this was the Anchor Hocking glass factory, which closed its doors in 1987. Dan approaches a window in the factory when this happens.
Google and fill us in on what it used to be. Here's a small hole. Look into the place. You can see more repulsive graffiti, and it's a shame because people are what is that? Did you guys see that? It was like a shadow. That was kind of weird.
What I find so intriguing about this video is that Dan appears to interrupt the mysterious shadow. It doesn't miraculously appear in dramatic fashion as soon as the camera is turned on. Rather, it's already in frame when the camera goes through the window. There have been some suggestions, even by Dan himself, that the apparition is caused by some sort of iPhone camera distortion or lighting glitch. With no knowledge of how these specific cameras operate in low light conditions, I can't speculate, but the anomaly appears to move independently of the camera in and out of frame. There's also a suggestion that the shadow is caused by another person accompanying Dan. However, the window which he points the camera through is simply too small to allow a shadow to project into the room from behind. Dan would be blocking most of the light just by standing there. What do you make of this clip? This next video is taken from a motorcycle helmet camera as the rider speeds along after dark in the Philippines, March 2024. Have a watch.
Sa kuha ng 360 camera, habang binabaybay ni Carl at ng kanyang kasintahang itago natin sa pangalang Camille, ang kahabaan ng highway na ito sa barangay Gusak, Cagayan de Oro City, madaling araw nitong March 3, makikitang halos wala ng tao sa kalsada nung bigla na lang may tumawid.
Is this really a person disappearing into thin air? At first glance, this video appears to defy all rational explanation, but there are a few factors to consider. The first is that the camera is a 360-degree camera, as one commenter on Reddit pointed out. 360 helmet cameras often consist of 2 180-degree cameras connected back to back. This may result in a blind spot, and perhaps all that's happening here is that the person running across the road hits the point between the two cameras right as the motorcycle shoots past, narrowly missing the lucky jaywalker. The video is also in quite low resolution, which could result in the illusion that the figure has vanished when the motorcyclist looks back. I'm just not sure though. Some analyzers of the footage have managed to capture screenshots of the figure's face. Let's just say, it looks like he's had a hard paper round. Do you think this video captures an apparition? Let me know in the comments. I usually find the most believable supernatural footage to come from witnesses who are not directly involved in the Fortean sphere. However, this next clip is in direct defiance of that pattern. Bob Gymlan is one of the most established and well-respected paranormal channels on the site. 6 months ago, he released a video entitled My Paranormal Evidence, some of the best I've ever seen. A bold claim to be sure, but one that I believe is justified. You see, the pictures and video which Bob shares come from a time before creating YouTube content was his full-time career. In 2016, he was working as a night manager at the Heidel House Hotel and Resort in Wisconsin. Having recently purchased a new iPhone, he took a series of 118 photos of the spa building as he traversed it on his nightly round. But despite certainty that he was on his own, Bob captures what he believes to be 6 apparitions in the sequence. Take a look.
And then here is the first of several in this sequence that seem to depict something else, to the right of the flash. And if you're not convinced, you can see it better on the live capture, and I'll replay it. Again, I didn't even notice the figure in this sequence until I started working on this video. This was not the subject of this video. I haven't even gotten to the good part yet. And right here is the first time it appears. Seeing the chair? Let's blow it up. I may not have even noticed this had it not been for the photos to come. And again, same figure, same place. And here it is blown up to 300%. Here's the bar in the POS station, another of the bar, but here it is again, and blown up to 300%. My very last photo of the night. That right there, has eye shine.
Despite utter assurance that he was on his own in the spa complex, the captures tell a completely different story. Assuming Bob is telling the truth, which I personally believe he is, his video and picture evidence may capture something entirely inexplicable. I give particular credence to the images of the figure in the chair. There's just something that rings authentic about the way the apparition is in the background, not the subject of the photo, just caught in it by sheer luck and coincidence. Of course, equally terrifying is the concept that there was a lone person stalking Bob on his nightly managerial rounds. What do you make of these pictures? I consider myself to have a healthily skeptical attitude when it comes to paranormal evidence. A cynic may refer to me as a fence-sitter, and that's not an unfair observation. I personally feel that we simply don't currently know enough about the makeup of our universe to draw black and white conclusions about this subject. I find a certain satisfaction and tranquility when lingering at the crossroads between what is understood to be true and what is simply ungraspable. I believe that holding two beliefs in tandem and allowing ourselves to sit with the complex nature of these esoteric mysteries could help us achieve agreement and harmony in the everyday concrete issues which plague our society. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll definitely see you next time.